What does it take to be considered the worst player in NBA history by one of the greatest to ever play the game? That's the dubious distinction recently bestowed by Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal. When asked to name the worst player to ever grace an NBA court, Shaq didn't hesitate. His answer? Rudy Gobert. Our story begins with the inciting incident, Shaquille O'Neal's no-holds-barred assessment of Rudy Gobert. Appearing on Complex's internet show in September 2024, Shaq was asked to name the worst player in NBA history. Without skipping a beat, the 4-time champion and 15-time All-Star declared it was none other than Rudy Gobert. Quote, "That's easy, Rudy Gobert. If you sign a contract for $250 million, show me you're worth that $250 million, Shaq proclaimed. Those guys haven't earned my respect. Every time I say things like this, people think I'm singling out certain players, but I'm not. I'm just stating facts." The guys Shaq referred to also included Ben Simmons, another highly paid star who's faced criticism for not living up to expectations. But it was Gobert who bore the brunt of O'Neal's ire. Shaq's disdain seems to stem from a belief that Gobert and others like him have broken the system, securing massive contracts without the skill level to match. Quote, "There's a reason I walk around the way I do, why I can't even turn my neck. I played for $120 million. Then you've got guys like him, who've messed up the system, making tons of money, but can't play," Shaq added. It's a hateful rebuke from one of the most dominant forces the game has ever seen. But is it a fair assessment? To answer that, we need to take a closer look at the man at the center of this controversy, Rudy Gobert. Born in Saint-Quentin, France in 1992, Rudy Gobert was introduced to basketball at a young age by his father, Rudy Bourgarel, who had a brief stint playing college ball in the US for Marist College. Standing at an impressive 7 foot 1 inches tall with a wingspan of 7 feet 9 inches, Gobert was an intriguing prospect coming out of France. His physical tools were undeniable, but he was still a raw talent when the Denver Nuggets selected him with the 27th pick in the 2013 NBA draft before trading his rights to Utah. Gobert spent his rookie year mostly riding the bench, appearing in just 45 games while averaging a meager 2.3 points. But with his rare combination of height, length, and athleticism, the potential was there for him to develop into an elite rim protector. And develop he did. Gobert made a leap in his sophomore season, starting 37 games and putting up 8.4 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per contest. He finished third in most improved player voting that year, establishing himself as one of the league's most fearsome paint presences. Over the next few seasons, Gobert continued his ascent. He led the league in blocks in 2017, swats in 2019, and grabbed a league-best 14.7 rebounds per game in 2022. The individual accolades also started piling up. Multiple All-NBA and All-Defensive selections, 3 All-Star appearances, and most notably, 4 Defensive Player of the Year trophies. Gobert became the anchor of Utah's defense. His ability to protect the rim and gobble up rebounds crucial to the Jazz's perennial status as a playoff team. His offensive game, while limited, improved each year as well, with Gobert leading the league in field goal percentage 4 times thanks to his propensity for rim-rattling dunks. By all accounts, Gobert had established himself as one of the preeminent centers in the game today, a dominant defensive force who had a transformational impact on the court. He transformed his success into a 5-year, $205 million contract extension in 2020. At the time, the 3rd largest deal in NBA history and the biggest ever for a center. It's this massive contract that seems to be the crux of Shaq's issue with Gobert. Now, there's no question, Rudy Gobert is handsomely paid. His 5-year, $205 million contract with the Utah Jazz that began in 2021 was a record setter for a center, reflecting his status as one of the best big men in the game. But does his production warrant that massive investment? Let's look at the data. Over his 9-year career, Gobert has averaged a double-double with 12.7 points and 11.8 rebounds per game. He's led the league in rebounds per game once in 2021-2022 with 14.7, blocks per game once, 2.7 blocks in 2020 and 2021, and field goal percentage 3 times with a career mark of 65.5%. Gobert's impact is most felt on the defensive end, where he's been named Defensive Player of the Year 4 times and earned 7 all-defensive first-team selections. His presence in the paint deters opponents from attacking the rim, and he consistently ranks among the league leaders in defensive rebounds, blocks, and contested shots. However, there are some holes in Gobert's game that lend credence to Shaq's critiques. For one, his offensive repertoire is limited. The vast majority of his points come off putbacks, lobs, and pick-and-roll finishes rather than back-to-the-basket moves or face-up shots. Gobert is also a poor free throw shooter at just 63.9% for his career and has never developed a reliable mid-range jumper or perimeter game. In the playoffs, where the game slows down and half-court execution becomes paramount, Gobert's limitations can be exposed. Teams will often go small, forcing him out of his comfort zone defending on the perimeter, and his lack of offensive versatility allows defenders to sag off and clog passing lanes. It's also worth noting that for all of Gobert's individual accolades, the Jazz have consistently underwhelmed in the postseason. They've made the playoffs each of the last 5 years, but advanced past the second round just once in that span, losing in the first round 3 times. Fairly or not, as the team's highest paid player, some of that underperformance falls on Gobert's shoulders. So while Gobert's defensive dominance and rebounding prowess are undeniable, there are some question marks about his game that prevent him from being considered truly elite, franchise-altering player on the level of a Shaq, Hakeem, or even present-day Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic. His gaudy contract, the largest ever for a player who's ever made an All-NBA first team, reflects the premium placed on rim protection in the modern NBA, but also raises expectations to a level Gobert may struggle to meet. Having examined the data, it's clear Rudy Gobert is a highly impactful but flawed player, an elite rim protector and rebounder but limited offensive weapon. But does that make him the worst player in NBA history as Shaq suggests? Far from it. For starters, Gobert's accolades speak for themselves. 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, multiple All-Star and All-NBA selections. These are not the marks of a worst player ever. Only a handful of players in league history have matched Gobert's Defensive Player of the Year award total, and they're all-time greats like Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, and Dwight Howard. Gobert is unequivocally one of the best defenders of his generation. Moreover, Gobert's worst ever designation seems particularly shocking considering some of the draft busts, bona fide bench warmers, and just plain bad players that have cycled through the league over the years. Guys like Michael Olowokandi, Kwame Brown, Darko Milicic, players drafted high who had all the physical tools but couldn't put it together. Or longtime journeymen like Sagana Diop or Byron Mullins, who stuck around for years despite middling, at best, production. Heck, even Shaq played with the likes of Slava and Stanislav Medvedenko, big men who made Gobert look like Kareem by comparison. The point is, for all his flaws, Gobert is still a hugely positive contributor when he's on the floor. The advanced metrics paint a picture of a player who consistently makes his team better, even if his box score stats don't always pop. Gobert routinely ranks near the top of the league in plus-minus, net rating, and various other catch-all impact metrics. He's also remarkably durable, rarely missing time to injury, and a consummate professional by all accounts. To put it bluntly, if Rudy Gobert is the worst player in NBA history, then the bar for entry into the league is astronomical. There have been literal dozens, if not hundreds, of players less impactful and productive than Gobert over the decades. Shaq's proclamation, while attention-grabbing, simply doesn't stand up to scrutiny. So if Gobert isn't the worst player ever and is in fact pretty darn good, why the huge contract? The answer lies in the changing nature of the NBA game and the increasing value placed on a very specific skill set, that of the unicorn big man. In today's pace and space, three-point happy NBA, there's a premium on big men who can protect the rim on defense while spacing the floor and hitting threes on offense. The prized archetype is a player like Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns, 7-footers who can swat shots, switch onto perimeter players, and knock down triples on the other end. Gobert, for all his many strengths, is not that. He's a traditional center in a league that increasingly favors versatility. But his particular set of skills, unparalleled rebounding, paint deterrence, and lob finishing, are still highly sought after, even if they don't fit the unicorn mold. In a league where perimeter players have more freedom to attack the basket than ever, having a security blanket like Gobert waiting at the rim is invaluable. That's why when Gobert hit free agency in 2020, the Jazz didn't hesitate to pony up a record-setting deal. They knew that elite rim protectors in the mold of Gobert don't grow on trees and that his presence was integral to their defensive identity. It's also why, even with his offensive limitations, Gobert remains a coveted trade target for contenders looking to shore up their interior defense. In short, the value of a player like Gobert, even in a league trending towards positionless versatility, is still immense. He may not be the flashiest or most well-rounded player, but his impact on winning is undeniable. And in a league where the ultimate goal is to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the year, that's what matters most. But hey, that's just my take. I want to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments section below. Is Rudy Gobert overpaid and overrated, or is he invaluable, if underappreciated, piece of a winning team? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're always breaking down the biggest stories and trends in the NBA, and you won't want to miss our future videos. And hey, while you're at it, smash that bell icon too. That way you'll be notified as soon as we drop new content. Trust me, with how quickly things change in the NBA, you're going to want to stay up to date. We'll see you next time.